Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the NFL Draft Triple Take presented by UPMC. I'm Mike Prisuta, along with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson. We are prepping you and getting you ready for the NFL Draft to the extent that we've gone over not just every position, but now we are in the process of taking a further review at every position, going over every position, not once, but twice. The difference, it's a subtle one, but significant. First time around, we each gave you our top 5 candidates for drafting at the positions, cornerback in terms of what we're talking about today. And this time around, we're giving you a riser, a faller, and a sleeper. Now, I'm going to go just a little bit out of order on this one because one of the dynamics that has developed as we've done these, one of the characteristics is that Dale and Matt, who are each other's work wife or husband, however you want to phrase that, they perform so admirably together on the drive on SNR. They have often come up with the same guy this time around, whatever, the same riser, the same faller, the same sleeper. But this time, guys, we completed the hat trick. Our faller is unanimous, and he is DERION KENDRICK.
He earned it,
of Georgia.
Yeah.
Matt, you want to lead us off, and then we'll all just give a little insight as to why. Oh my God, this guy played defense for the national champs, and he's falling. How can this be?
Yeah, he's won a lot of football games. He's been an integral part for a couple teams, but he has some off the field things, that were a worry before all this process. I think playing on that awesome Georgia defense gives you some leeway too. It makes life a little easier when the pass rush is getting home like that. But he didn't work out at the combine and ran a 4.75 in the 40, and his jumps were also pretty poor. So
his 10-yard split was really slow too. I mean, it just was not a good workout for him at all. And as Matt mentioned, that off the field stuff. He got kicked out of Clemson, asked to leave Clemson, and ended up at Georgia. Talk about going how does that happen? We're going to leave this national championship program to go to this one. So good for him. But those times that workout did not help him at all, and he might have to move to safety.
Yeah, it's interesting. He was a wide receiver at Clemson initially. Caught, I think, 15 passes for their national championship team in 2018. He eventually got kicked out, and the head coach, Dabo Swinney, says he loves him. And, it's just something that happened. He doesn't hold it against the kid. Kirby Smart raved about him. Particularly after Georgia thumped Michigan. He was the MVP of the Orange Bowl, the national championship semifinal, couple of interceptions. But you mentioned those times. And, one of the things we've talked about a lot during these shows is that being great is not as great as it usually is because there's so many freaks out there that have gone so far past what our normal standard is for being really impressed. This is not the year to be going the other way, particularly off the field. There's just too many people available that don't have bad times and don't have a relatively checkered past.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, too many strikes against him. He needed to run well to kind of alleviate some of those issues for the off the field stuff, and it just didn't happen.
Dale, let's stick with you. We'll do riser second. Usually we lead off with that, but we'll take that second this time around. Who you got?
I got TARIQ WOOLEN at Texas San Antonio, and this was a guy, again, who caught my eye at the Senior Bowl. They were putting out a spreadsheet every day down there that they'd send out to the media of who were the fastest guys during the practices. They had the trackers on them, and he ran like 23 miles an hour. Was a late addition to the Senior Bowl, and I'm like, okay, I got to start watching this guy. So I watched him the next couple of practices. I'm like, wow, is he big? I didn't know how big. 6'4", 205, and he ran a 4.2 640 at the NFL scouting combine. He had a 42-inch vertical. You want to talk freaky athletes? This guy might be the freakiest athlete in this entire draft. Now, he's going to be raw. UTSA is not a big-time program, but man, you could take this guy in that day 2 and mold him a little bit, and you're going to have something there because 6'4", 205, to be that fast shouldn't be humanly possible.
And Dale, a lot of those guys they're really long striders or really high cut, like sprinters, like Usain Bolt, but he can change direction and drop his hips. There's a lot to work with there.
Yeah, I like that. I wasn't going to overthink him. 6'4", 205, 4.26. I had him number 5 when we did the top 5. Now, I think that was way higher than most people initially assessed this stuff, which is why I had relatively low-hanging fruit for my riser. I went with Roger McCreary of Auburn, who's a really good player, just missed cracking my top 5, but he's just checking the boxes, as a lot of them are, just maybe not in an unprecedented fashion, but really good football player. Got his 40 down to 4.46 at the Auburn Pro Day. The only thing I don't like about him is everybody keeps talking about this story, how he chows baked beans with sugar. That's his favorite meal. And I don't know if I want to be around him while he's eating it. I don't know if I want to be around him after he's eating it.
Yeah, is he sitting around the campfire, like a Blazing Saddles style?
Right.
I don't know.
Secret weapon on the field.
But he does not lack confidence, and coming out of the SEC, why would he? Because there have been many receivers coming out of the SEC last couple of years. He's seen them all.
Yeah, good football player.
Quality player.
Yeah. In this draft, if you didn't run a sub 4.4 at the cornerback position, nobody's going to talk about you.
Matt, you went up to Happy Valley for your riser.
Yeah, I almost went with Jalen Armour Davis from Alabama.
You like the hyphenated guys.
Yeah, as I say, but I went with another guy, a young man with 3 names here, and TARIQ CASTRO-FIELDS from Penn State. I think he has some technique work to do. I think he's going to, need a little bit of time. But, boy, he has traits. I mean, he's 6'2", almost 200 pounds, long. Like, he's built in a lab to play press man coverage. He's also flexible. He can go up and play the ball, high point it. And he ran a 4.38 40 in Indy. So I'll take my chances on developing him.
Matt, this is becoming more of a thing, is it not? We're getting away from this guy had 18 sacks, and we're getting more toward projecting what a guy with this height and this weight that runs an XX 40-yard dash. We're getting more toward that part of it than we are the proven production, are we not?
I think so. I mean, especially this time of year. And I think that at times that's when mistakes are made too. You forget what you watched on tape, and you just kind of, what have you done for me lately process at times. And I think there's some mistakes made that way. But I also think analytics has something to do with it, that if I see all these measurables and I've got 10 years of data to look at, boy, my hit rate's pretty good. I'm going to stay in that lane,
Matt,
it really works out well when both things mesh, when you have production
right.
and that. But that's
why he had 18 sacks. He's
right. Because he's big.
Or you look at it the other way. I mean, why didn't he have any sacks? Why didn't he have any production? Because he has all these athletic traits. So it goes both ways.
Stay with you, Dale. Interesting sleeper you came up with.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with the small school guys, kind of like I did with UTSA. I'm going to Sam Houston State for my sleeper cornerback. It's ZYON McCOLLUM. Again, another good-sized cornerback, 6'2", 199. He ran a 4.3, 340 at the combine with a 39-inch vertical, and then at a 3.94 20-yard shuttle. This is a guy who not only has those intangibles, the athleticism, he had 13 interceptions in college as well. I mean,
so he's actually got production as well as measurables.
Yeah, but it's a small school. He originally signed with Utah coming out of college or out of high school in Texas. He has a twin brother. The twin brother and he decided they wanted to stay closer to home. They're both, I guess, they lined up at safety in high school. They were the two starting safeties, and they're identical twin brothers. Go figure that out. Trying to figure out that if you're a quarterback. So, they ended up going to Sam Houston State. And again, it was a 5-year player there, which you're going to see a lot of those guys in this year's draft. But 13 interceptions in 5 seasons. That's good. That's pretty good ball skills for me.
Matt, you're keeping it in the Lone Star State. Tell us about Marcus Jones from Houston.
He is 5'8" exactly. I mean, he's not 5'8 and a quarter. He doesn't have long arms. He has small hands. He's only a slot corner. And we can, discuss, what's a true slot worth in today's NFL. But everything else I'm about to say about him is awesome. I love this player. He is unbelievably twitchy. He has great feet. He is, designed to deal with the Edelmans and the Welker types out of the slot. He is tough. He has great ball skills. He's a valuable contributor on defense, but only in that role. But this is what I love about him. He's the best returner in the entire class. I mean, he has 9 career return touchdowns and also will run down on punts and kickoffs as a gunner. You know, he'll stick his face in the fire. Maybe his new team even hands him the football or gets him on offense. I mean, this guy's a great football player. And I truly believe if he were 6 foot, he might be a top 10 pick.
If he were 5'10", he might be.
Right.
You know, he just isn't. That's the only problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And he never will be.
My sleeper is ALONTAE Taylor of Tennessee, a guy who at the start of the process, people were wondering, is he a corner or is he a safety? Well, he ran really well at Tennessee's Pro Day. Well, actually in Indianapolis as well. 6 foot, 199 pounds. And one of his biggest backers throughout this offseason process has been Jim Nagy, who's the executive director of the Senior Bowl. He's seen a lot of these guys come and go. He says that Nagy says Taylor is inarguably the most innately physical corner available. Now, I don't know if he's that, but he's physical and he can run. So again, don't have to go too far. Once you get into the portion of the draft where the sleepers are being heard from, all the more reason to go with the measurables and the projections as opposed to the production. Not that he's a bad player at Tennessee by any stretch of the imagination, but I think as this process has continued, he's shown people he is a corner, and he might be a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's a nice sleeper there. I think it is. If Nagy is his biggest supporter, Ramon Foster might be his second biggest supporter because, well, anybody who went to Tennessee, that's automatically the way that goes.
Yeah, I'll never forget the one year Ramon showed up to camp and he had the Tennessee logo wheel covers.
Yeah,
and then he got out of his
got the
car,
slipper. You got the
slippers on.
Yeah.
Good for you, Ramon. You know what?
Never forget your roots.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Forever. That's going to do it for cornerbacks. Probably not a moment too soon. I was about ready to start singing the Sport and Fight song. I was getting so fired up. You can get all this stuff on all the Steelers' social media platforms. Thank you for finding us. We appreciate it. If you've been with us all along, we really appreciate it. If you're new to the show, well, we're happy about that as well. We're going to keep doing it right up until draft night. Late April, the first round on a Thursday night, then rounds 2 and 3 on a Friday, and then it finishes up on Saturday. And if you're not prepared as you need to be by then, it's because, well, you just haven't been paying close enough attention. That's going to do it for us. For Matt Williamson and Dale Lolley, I'm Mike Prisuta. This has been still another edition of the NFL Draft Triple Take presented by UPMC.